Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my oral presentation on ethics. Yay! Hope everyone is having a wonderful, wet, and miserable weekend as I am, because it's constantly raining. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. My name is Lauren, and my career field is in veterinary technology. As you all know, I'll be discussing what ethics is and what I believe the most important features of ethics are. Pretty much what we're all going to be doing, right? Also, why ethics is so important in my chosen career field, which is, once again, veterinary technology. So this is where all of our videos are going to differ. Yay! So without further ado, let's get started. So, what is ethics? The definition of ethics is rules of behavior based on what is morally good or bad. My definition of ethics is a way of life that enforces your behavior on what is truly good or bad. Basically, if you use ethics throughout life, it will help you live a morally good or bad life. Hero or supervillain? Kind of weighs out even. Ha! Pretty simple, right? Some of the most important features of ethics to me are the principles of impartiality, which is the welfare and interests of each individual, that each individual should be given the same weight as all others. This means that no matter who the person is, what they look like, who they are, or what they believe in, these people should have the same amount of interest in as you would give your best friend, even your family. In certain fields, this practice is extremely crucial, such as in the medical field. Each patient deserves the same care and concern as every other patient. Another important feature of ethics would be the preeminence of reasoning, which in ethics involves, even requires, critical reasoning. This means you have to use your head in every situation and think rationally before you make your move. Taking a moment to step back and assess each situation clearly and methodically will help your reasoning in diffusing each situation, no matter how stressful or serious the situation is. A clear and conscious mind will help you overcome any situation. I really take terms of this, especially with being overseas in Afghanistan, where sometimes you do have to take a step back and assess each situation before you can make moves. It becomes very, very critical. Very critical. Now, let's move on to why ethics is so important in my career field, which is veterinary technology. Ethics is so important in veterinary fields because, just like in any medical profession, there comes a time when tough and heartbreaking decisions have to be made. You have to be able to make those choices no matter how hard it is, no matter how difficult it is for you or for your patient's family to come to terms with this. You have to make that choice. These decisions are not meant to intentionally cause pain and grief. They're to do what's best for the patient. That should always be the top priority. And sometimes the best option, especially in veterinary fields, is to euthanize and put that patient out of their misery. Some cases come in where the family wants to fight as hard as they can, but sometimes they've had enough. They just can't keep going, and you have to make that choice to put them out of pain, put them out of misery, and basically put them at peace. This is where the preeminence of reasoning comes into play, and each decision has to be well calculated and all options exhausted before making the final conclusion. It's hard. You have to try and exhaust every option that you're able to, but in most cases, especially in the veterinary field, money comes into play. If a dog comes in who has been hit by a car and has severe internal bleeding and needs 2 of its legs amputated, you have to think like, okay, you have to lay it out. This is going to cost X amount of dollars, but the family only has X amount of dollars. So, as much as it's heartbreaking to do, if a family member can't afford this procedure, this process to save their pet, you have to give them the option that euthanasia might be better. And that's where the preeminence of reasoning comes in. You have to give them as much care as you can, but unfortunately monetary reasons, especially in this field, come into play because there's very little pet insurance nowadays that will cover the costs or help cover the costs, and some families just can't afford it. And being that, sometimes this is for the best when families, like I said, can't afford the treatments, or the patient's likelihood of pulling through the procedures is so low that even attempting the procedures can be too risky. So it's tough. So let's go ahead and do a quick recap on what we discussed. We went over the definition of ethics and what I define as ethics. The most important features of ethics were the preeminence of reasoning and the principle of impartiality. Why ethics in the veterinary field is so crucial and examples of why that is. I want to thank you all for your time, and good luck to you in all of your endeavors, and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday night. Thank you and have a great night.